Yes, Roundabout, live at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2017 induction ceremony. Woo! Hey, this is Matt Criscuolo coming to you up close and personal. Sometimes maybe too personal. I'm going to be doing this reaction. Actually, a friend of mine, a fine musician, a great trumpeter, and provocateur named Dan D'Onofrio, he posted this on his Facebook. And so I said, let me check it out. Anyway, we're going to get right to this, but please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, stay in touch, hit that like button, and all that other fancy YouTube stuff that you got to do. Anyway, let's get right to this, shall we? What's this all about? Nice. Yeah. Woo.
The music dance and sing. They make the children really ring. Spend the day your way. All the morning driving through the sun, in and out the valley, in and around the lake. Miles come out of the sky, stand there. 1 mile over, we'll be there, or we'll see you. 22 summers, we'll be there, and laughing too. 24 my love, you see, I'll be there with you.
Man, I got to tell you, I never ever really got into Yes into the extent that I actually went out and bought a record, and I don't have any records, but I hear the sound. I know, I recognize the band. They have their own sound. I totally respect that. I love the rhythmic variety that they got going on here. Some of you might hear me complain occasionally that I get a little bored, but with stuff like this, it's interesting to me because they're playing rock, but there's rhythmic variety and interest. There's harmonic and chordal things going on that for someone like me, I find that very interesting. It keeps me engaged. And it kind of throws me back a little bit to a different time and place. And I'm digging it, man. Right on. Yes. Woo. The bass player is playing some nasty shit. Nice bass line.
Come out of the sky and stand there.
Are these all the same original cats from the original Yes that I've been aware of all these years? Are these still the same guys? I mean, even if they're not all the same guys, even if they're not, but it's amazing that they're still out there performing. This was 2017, man. That's amazing. What a great, and that's one of the things I love about a lot of rock and roll groups is that they actually are bands that stay together for a long time or for a period of time. You know, Miles did that a little bit, but not for huge periods of time. You know, I wish that some of the jazz guys did that, but you know, it's the nature of whatever's going on in that space. But with rock and roll, for whatever reasons, they were, for a variety of reasons, they kept the groups together, and we as the audience were able to enjoy that evolution, that growth, that experience of following a band and listening to their body of work for over a period of years, and that's exciting. That's exciting, and I love the keyboardist, man. Do you think he's got enough keyboards in front of him? God damn, some vintage stuff. Oh my God.
Come out of the sky, they stand there. 24 before my love, and I'll be there. Got to be
These guys from? Are they from England? I don't know anything about these guys. If you could let me know, I'd appreciate it. Let us all know. Those of you in the know, I'm curious. I'm not really listening to the lyrics. Sometimes I do that to a fault. I focus more on the other components of the music and not so much the lyrics, even though I understand and realize the lyrics are very important. But sometimes I disregard those just for the first pass through sometimes. I notice a lot of arrangement quality and production to the music, to this particular song. There's a serious arrangement here with, if you were to look at this, at the way it was scored on paper, there would have been a lot of stuff going on. It's the kind of stuff that I, as a musician, would personally look at and go, oh shit, I'm going to have to shed this. I'm gonna have to check this out, man. Sight reading this would not be something I'd want to do. But I'm not, I think of off the top of my head, I could think of a lot of great musicians that could sight read this without having played it before and nail it. Jerry Tyler on the bass, Dave Anderson on the bass, a lot of great. Maybe Dan D'Onofrio on the trumpet could probably blow through this without a problem. But me, I'd have to check it out for a minute.
I'll be the roundabout, the words make you out and out. I spend the day your way, calling morning, driving through the south, even in the valley. Yeah, hit around the lake, colors come out of the sky. We stand there. One mile over, we'll be there, we see you. 10 to 7, we'll be there, and nothing too. 24 before my love, you see, I'll be there with you. Da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da,
Are you fucking kidding me? What is a fugue? These motherfuckers playing a fugue at the end and shit. Let me tell you, I really dug this for so many reasons. Okay, I know some of you probably are tired of me talking about jazz because you probably don't like jazz that much, or you don't get it, or you're like, that's an elitist bullshit, whatever. There's no melody and blah, blah, blah. But what I will tell you is that as a jazz musician, I have been very fortunate to have been exposed to some very interesting colors, sounds, rhythms, textures, and all sorts of other great music. When you get into jazz, you start, your ears open up to all sorts of different types of music. And, some jazz guys don't, they get a little pigeonholed and they don't want to hear anything else. But, the jazz guys out there know what I mean. Like we listen to a lot of different stuff and we get exposed to a lot of different, elements of music. And so when I listen to a rock band, sometimes if they're just playing a one chord and they're starting on the one chord and they fool around and they go to the 6 and the 4 and the 5 and that's about it. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm just talking about they're playing like a formulaic, stylistic kind of a rock and roll, which, it sounds good and it's great and it can be excellent. For example, you could play a blues and make it excellent, and it's still just basically a 12-bar blues. It's a form that's okay. But if you listen to so when I do these reaction videos, I listen to a lot of rock, and I'm listening to the same things over and over again. I'm kind of like, you got to make that interesting. You know what I mean? In this case, they not only had some little solo developmental sections where they soloed a little bit, not for too long, but the music had a lot of interesting variety things going on for somebody like me. And obviously for you too, if you're listening to this, you probably are a fan of Yes, and I'm a little late to the party. So why don't you enlighten me a little bit and tell me a little bit about what you like about Yes, about this particular song, and throw out some factoids. Let's know. Let us learn a little something from you, huh? Hey guys, listen, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I do have some merchandise in the links below if you want to check out the description. Hey, what else can I say? This was a wonderful experience. I enjoyed it. Dan D'Onofrio, thank you so much for posting it. You always post really cool stuff, and I always trust what you do. Because I know you personally. I know that you're a deep thinking person, and that carries over into everything, music included. So let's get right to it. Hey, look, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And you take it easy. And if it's real easy, take it twice.